Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nik Nadia Farhana binti Syahadan. So I would like to explain about Maqasid Shariah. Okay, so Maqasid is the plural of the word Maqsad, which carries the meaning of belief, cause and target. Okay, in other words, this term refers to the objective that need to be accomplished. Okay, Shariah is an Arabic word meaning the path to be followed, a path leading to Allah through Prophet Muhammad. Okay, it is also the name given to the whole system of law in Islam. It is the totally of good commandment. Okay, Maqasid Sharia in general, according to the Islam scholar, it is the objective or purpose behind the Islamic ruling. Maqasid Sharia, it is important for Mujahid to understand and interpret the text of Sharia. Also, to derive solution to the contemporary problem faced by Muslims. Maqasid Shariah provide a clear guidance to the process of ijtihad in solving the issues faced by Muslims while complying with the will of God. Okay, so there's three elements in Maqasid Shariah. They are the essential al-daruriyat, the complementary benefit al-hajiyah, okay, and the embellishment al-tasiniyat. The fundamental of al-daruriyat. Okay, the first and the most important matter in Daruriyat is protection of ad-din. This is the mechanism by which Sharia protects itself and its adherent. It requires believers to hold it in high regard and to be committed to it. Every Muslim has an obligation to defend this religion on a personal and
Very good morning to Dr. Nurul Huda. My name is Jessica Suzy and my student ID is 202274717017. I am going to present our group assignment and this is my part, which is the challenging Islamic conservatism on being transgender. Okay. Islam teaches that God designed and created two distinct and complementary sexes, male and female, for conjugal union and reproduction. In Surah Al-Nisa 4:119, Muslims should not kill those who are born with cleft palates and lips because doing so will also entail interfering with God's perfect creation. According to this perspective, adopting traits from gender that is opposite the one to which one is born or changing one's gender is considered a challenge to God's authority as the creator. Furthermore, several Muslim scholars have emphasized that the Quranic verse 4:117 until 119 was revealed in relation to shirk, polytheism, conduct that took place prior to Islam by following Satan, forsaking the worship of Allah and engaging in idolatry. In verses 49 to 42, emphasize that because Allah will create what He wills, then the existence of a diversity of gender identity in human and animals are created according to Allah's will, not as a result of a mistake. For instance, some brain regions of AMAB, which is assigned male at birth, transsexual people mirror those of cisgender female. In addition, being transgender is viewed as a sin or deviant behavior in many Muslim nations. Transgender persons live in fear in many Muslim nations such as the Middle East, Pakistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Afghanistan, and they are frequently the victim of sexual abuse, police brutality, and family abandonment. The majority of Muslims worldwide support the prevailing conservative view that it is prohibited for an individual to transform what Allah has created based on an interpretation of the Quranic verse 4:119. Conservative Muslim tradition, as opposed to progressive Islam, is best explained by Barlas. The conservatism of Muslim tradition, method, and memory I have suggested that can ascribe to a specific configuration of political and sexual power that privilege the state over civil society, men and women. Conservatism over egalitarianism and some texts are methodologies over others. Besides, various academics such as Alipor 2017 and Rosen 1991 points to reference in the hadith to the existence of mukanat, a man who carries femininity in his movement, in his appearance, and in the softness of his voice. The Arabic term for a trans woman is mukanith, as they want to change their biological sex character, while mukanat presumably do not have not. The mukanat of effeminate man is obviously male, but naturally behave like a female. Unlike the kunta, an intersex person who could be either male or female, ironically, while there is no obvious mention of mukanat, mukanith, and kunta in the Quran, this holy book clearly recognizes that there are some people who are neither male or female, or are in between, and or could also be non-procreative, as in Surah 42, Surah verse 49 to 50. The dominion of heaven and earth belongs to Allah. He created whatever He pleases. He grants female to whoever He pleases, and males to whoever He pleases, or grant them a mix of male and females, and causes whomever He pleases to be born. He is all-knowing, all-powerful. For this reason, transgender people should not be considered as sinners and shameless people due to their characteristic, and the existence of these people is also a sign of Allah's creation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The story of Prophet Lut in Islam and the people of Sodom. The Prophet Lut alayhi salam and people of Sodom. Story of Prophet Lut alayhi salam is referenced in Quran multiple times. Numerous texts in the Quran situate that story of Prophet Lut alayhi salam, after Prophet Noah alayhi salam, Prophet Hud alayhi salam, Prophet Saleh alayhi salam, and Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, may peace be upon him, raised Prophet Lut alayhi salam, also known as Prophet Lot alayhi salam, from childhood. Even when he was mocked, Prophet Lut alayhi salam still loved, respected, and believed in the teaching of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and Prophet Lut alayhi salam frequently travel far across sea and land in an effort to preach and bring more people into the Islamic fold. During Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and Prophet Lut alayhi salam journey to Palestine, they learned that Lut had been appointed by Allah as a prophet and a messenger for the inhabitants of Sodom. In order to bring the rebels back to the worship of Allah, Allah commanded the new prophet to go to the city of Sodom, which is situated on the border between Jordan and Palestine. The people of Sodom is a nation accepted and participated in this despicable conduct on widespread basis. They indulged in the immoral activities in the open, spoke candidly about them, and were incredibly proud of their behavior. The people of Sodom were of the most immoral and insolent nature. Although they were guilty of many vices, one stand out glaringly among all the rest, such as homosexuality or sodomy, and they were the first people in human history to practice homosexuality. The people also would commit perverted deeds openly in their gatherings, and they cut the access of travelers to their roadways, robbing and killing them, after perhaps first forcing them engage in unnatural acts. Prophet alayhi salam warning. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إذ قال لهم أخوهم لوط ألا تتقون. When their brother Lot said to them, will you not fear Allah? إني لكم رسول أمين. I am truly a trustworthy messenger to you. فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. So fear Allah and obey me. وَمَا أسألكم عليه من أجر إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين. I do not ask for you any reward for this message. My reward is only from the Lord of all worlds. That is Surah Ash-Shura, verse 161 to 164. After he holding up a mirror in front of his people, Prophet Lut alayhi salam tried to make them look at the awful of their perverted habits and criminal behavior. That is still in Surah An-Nam, verse 44 until 45. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولوطا إذ قال لقومه أتأتون الفاحشة وأنتم تبصرون. And remember Lot, when he rebuked the man of his people, do you commit that shameful deed while you can see one another? أئنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء بل أنتم قوم تجهلون. Do you really lust after men instead of women? In fact, you are only a people acting ignorantly. But the response of his people of Sodom, already extraordinarily hardened and callous, was only that they said, expel the family of Lot from your city. Indeed, there are people who keep themselves pure. It is stated in Surah An-Nam, verse 56. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا أخرجوا آل لوط. فما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا أخرجوا آل لوط من قريتكم إنهم أناس يتطهرون. Prophet Lut alaihi salam admonition becomes stronger. Do you commit such immorality as no one precedes you with from among the worst? This is stated in Surah Al-A'raf, verse 80. He said, the people of Sodom simply replied with the same words of as before, asking to drive Prophet Lut alaihi salam and his family out. By ignoring their enmity and threats, Lut alaihi salam faithfully continued to preach and warn, reiterating his message, emphasizing the error and ingratitude of tuning away from the sources whom Allah has granted for the natural fulfillment of their needs. Continuing to preach despite his people's hospitality and threats, he then enumerated the entire catalog of their misdeeds, saying, indeed, you commit such immorality as no one has preceded you with from among the worlds. Indeed, you approach men and obstruct the road and commit in your meeting every evil. And the answer of the people was not but they say, bring us the punishment of Allah. You shouldn't be of the truthful. They stated in Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 28 to 29. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وَلُوطًا إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ إِنَّكُمْ لَتَأْتُونَ الْفَاحِشَةَ مَا سَبَقَكُمْ بِهَا مِنْ أَحَدٍ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. Remember, when Lot rebuked the man of his people, you certainly commit a shameful deed that no man have ever done before you. أَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَأْتُونَ الرِّجَالَ وَتَقْطَعُونَ السَّبِيلَ وَتَأْتُونَ فِي نَادِيكُمُ الْمُنكَرَ فَمَا كَانَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ إِلَّا أَنْ قَالُوا ائْتِنَا بِعَذَابِ اللَّهِ إِنْ كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Do you really lust after other men, abuse the travelers, and practice immorality openly in your gatherings? His people only respond was to say mockingly, brings Allah punishment upon us if what you say is true. It is said that the people would openly engage in homosexual acts in their assemblies without anyone objecting to it, as it was generally accepted practice. Satan was among them, and as in his way, he made their action appear fair and wholesome. They would spawn obscenities in the gathering and pass wine and laugh at it. They realized cock, pigeon, and quote fight. It is also said that they used mock passerby, throwing rocks and whistling at them, and they walk about naked. Step in sin, they were deaf to all of Prophet Lut a.s. admonitions. Thus, the answer of his people was not, but they say, bring us the punishment of Allah if you should be the truthful. My Lord, that's stick in Surah Al-Ankabut verse 29, and also in Surah Al-Ankabut verse 30 said, my Lord, Lut as a prayer, support me against the corrupting people. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال رب انصرني على القوم المفسدين. In a dire region, there was only one household of righteous people, and that was his own. And although his two daughters were believers, his wife, who is said to have been a sodomite, was connected to the people of the area, and her loyalty was with them. The angel arrived in Sodom. There are three angels named as Jibril alayhi salam, Mikael alayhi salam, and Israfil alayhi salam, who had arrived at the city of Sodom and looking for Prophet Lut alayhi salam in the form of very handsome human beings. When Prophet Lut alayhi salam heard of the strangers, he felt distressed and wondered how he could convince them to bypass the town of Sodom and continue on their travels. He tried to make them understand the nature of the town people, but only succeeded in convincing the messengers to wait for nightfall before entering the town. He brought them to his house secretly, so that no one but his family knew that they were there. However, his wife went out to inform her people, saying, in Lut's house there are men whose like I have never seen, nor have I ever seen such handsome faces. This is in Surah Al-Hijr verse 62. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال إنكم قوم منكرون. He said, you are surely an unfamiliar people. قالوا بل جئناك بما كانوا فيه يمترون. They respond, we have come to you with that torment which they have doubt. وآتيناك بالحق وإنا لصادقون. We come to you with the truth, and we are certainly truthful. فأسر بأهلك بقطع من الليل واتبع أدبارهم ولا يلتفت منكم أحد وامضوا حيث تؤمرون. So travel with your family in the dark of night and follow closely behind them. Do not let any of you look back and go where you are commanded. Despite this reassurance, Prophet Lut salam remained greatly troubled about the strangers' safety. Although, as his guests, they were under his protection, he knew well enough that as soon as their presence became known, the man of his town would be at his door. The stick at Suratul Hud verse 78. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولما جاءت رسلنا لوطا سيء بهم وضاق بهم ذرعا وقال هذا يوم عصيب. When our messenger angels came to Lot, he was distressed and worried by their arrival. He said, "This is a terrible day." He warned the people that the man was his guest and not to disgrace him in front of his guests. The intruders flung back at their prophet, saying, "Indeed, you know what we want." They stick in Surah Hud, verse 79. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قالوا لقد علمت ما لنا في بناتك من حق وإنك لتعلم ما نريد. They argued, "You certainly know that we have no need for your daughters. You already know what we desire." قال لو أن لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد. He responded, "If only I had the strength to resist you or could rely on a strong supporters." The last word suggests that the attackers intend to eliminate Prophet Lut salam to get at his guests. But as the men approached in the heat of the unnatural lust, or perhaps tried to force their way in, the angels took away their sights. This mentioned in Suratul Al-Qamar, verse 37. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولقد راودوه عن ضيفه فطمسنا أعينهم فذوقوا عذابي ونذور. And they even demand his angel guests from him, so we blinded their eyes, and they were told, "Taste them my punishment and warnings." Then the angel said to Lut alayhi salam, "So set out with your family during a portion of the night, and let no any among you look back, except your wife. Indeed, she will be struck by the which strikes them." This is Suratul Hud, verse 81. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قالوا يا لوط إنا رسل ربك لن يصلوا إليك فأسر بأهلك بقطع من الليل ولا يلتفت منكم أحد إلا امرأتك إنه مصيبها ما أصابهم إن موعدهم الصبح أليس الصبح بقريب. Then just says, O Lord, we are the messenger of your Lord. They will never reach you. So travel with your family in the dark of night, and do not let any of you look back except your wife. She will certainly suffer the fate of the others. Their appointed time is the morning. Is the morning not near? Then it was earlier dawn. Lut alayhi salam departed with his family except his wife. She remained behind and was afflicted by the punishment, along with the wrongdoers and weak town people. This is mentioned in Surah Qamar, verse 34. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إنا أرسلنا عليهم حاسبا إلا آل لوط نجيناهم بسحر. We unleashed upon them a storm of stone. As for the believers of Lot's family, we delivered them down.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Farid bin Muhammad Azmi. My student number is 2022188123. So today I would like to talk about the applications of Maqasid al-Shariah in solving misunderstood issue. In this case, misunderstood who was born to be a male had undergone a gender reassignment surgery in a hospital in Thailand due to his awareness of his physical self, which he felt that he is a woman but was born in a man's body. In Islam, it prohibits men who are in a similitude to a woman and a woman who are in the similitude of men by pursuing to a hadith narrated by Ibn Abbas, which means which is Allah's messenger curse those men who are in the similitude of women, and those women who are in the similitude assume the manners of men. Other than that, Islam also prohibits men who resembles women and men and women who resembles men. In addition to that, in 1983, the National Fatwa Council in Malaysia had imposed fatwa which prohibits gender change or sex change operations among the Muslim, and cross-dressing also prohibits. Thus, the action of doing a gender reassignment surgery or transgender is prohibited in Islam, and the dual will be seen if they do so. Next, we see the first issue is whether the act of misunderstood to go through a gender reassignment surgery is relevant to the subjective of Maqasid Shariah, which is a protection of religions. Hence, the prohibitions of transgender is in line with protection of religion under Maqasid Shariah. The second issue is whether the act of misunderstood to go through a gender reassignment surgery is relevant to the objective of Maqasid Shariah, which is the protection of lineage. And according to the hadith, the union of marriage is only legitimate means for one to seek sexual fulfillments and also to have children, in the bracket called as a lineage. And then the marriage is ultimately to protect the dignity of mankind and produce descendants through clear lineage, not through the adoptions or surrogate surrogacy or surrogacy, as it is usually practiced by the same-sex couple. Islam view wealth or property as a precious gift that Allah has given for human beings to enhance the quality of their life. Thus, the preservation of wealth is therefore being an essential and non-separated part of the Maqasid al-Shariah. In other words, Islam looks at how the money is being spent. Islam also teaches us not to be extravagant, but to be frugal in spending our wealth. Therefore, spending money for sex reassignment surgeries in order to become transgender is wasteful, and wastefulness is prohibited in Islam. So refer back to the case of misunderstood who are going to do the surgery in Thailand. So by implying the Maqasid al-Shariah, this is prohibited in Islam. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Iqbal. I would like to present about the application of Maqasid Shariah in solving Latif and Sazali's issue. For the case of spending night together in hotel room, when after a few minutes and Latif opened the door, he was surprised to find an officer from Jawi. Unlike misunderstood, Latif dressed up as a woman just for the purpose of enjoying the Halloween parties. In the case of Muhammad Juzaili, Muhammad Khamis versus State of Government of Negeri Sembilan, 2015, the appellants claim that the Section 66 Shariah Criminal Code Enactment 1992 enactment which the grant power to the Negeri Sembilan Religious Authority to impose penalty not exceeding 1,000 ringgit or to put in the jail in term of not exceeding 6 months, or both to any Muslim men who wear woman clothing or to act as ultra vires, to Article 5.1, Article 8.1, Article 8.2, Article 9.2, Article 10.1a Federal Constitution. Although the appellant have been confirmed by psychiatrists and psychologists to be diagnosed with the medical condition known as gender identity disorder (GID), the Federal Court, which is the highest court in Malaysia, overturned the decision made by Court of Appeal and held that the provision of enactment were not in contravention of Federal Constitution. Evidently, Malaysia Federal Constitution, which is supreme law of the land, does not recognize transgender or third gender position as well. This hadith is proof of the prohibition of men resemble and imitating women and of women resembling and imitating men in the way to they speak, dress, walk, behave, and so on. Abu Hurairah narrated, the messengers of Allah SAW cursed the man who dressed like a woman and the woman who dressed like a man. Riwayat Abu Dawud number 1498 and Al-Tinkibal Albani. The resemblance of the opposite sex is three categories. Those things which are shared between the sex from the type of clothing, speech and manners. So this is permissible for males and females because the origins matter in permissibility. And this share affair do not fall under provisions stated in the above hadith. For example, both sexes wear cotton socks, apply oil to hair and skins, drive car, cook, wear, wash, buy and sell goods. Example, those things which are specified to men and distinguishes masculine behavior are not permissible for women. So women cannot wear garments made and fashioned for men, take an hairstylist of men, or shave the head. Walk like men, talk and behave in masculine manners, pretend to be the same as women, same as men, seek leadership over the household and nation of tribe. Those things which are specific to women and distinguishing feminine behavior are not permissible for men. For this reason, men are forbidden from wearing women's garments, applying makeup such as lipstick, blusher, nail polish, altering their walk to resemble as a woman, and making feminine gesture with one hand, eyes or body, copying the hairstyle of women, singing, beating the dove, wearing jewelry, silk garment and gold, shaving the bed. Also, parents should discourage boys from playing with the girl toys and dolls. and discourage girls from playing the toys traditionally associated with boys, or vice versa. Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah said it is not permissible for a man to resemble the unbeliever or woman. Likewise, the woman is not permitted to imitate or resemble the man or the unbeliever in that which specifically identify them and their behavior. Not in fashion, custom, the way they walk or talk or anything else, and it is not permitted for a man to imitate a woman in her fashion, behavior, speech, or the way she walks, and he is not allowed to imitate an unbeliever or vice versa.
As for the conclusion, gender reassignment surgery was forbade in Malaysia by a fatwa. However, the Deputy Mufti of Perak wrote an article in which it was made clear that the fatwa did not apply to hermaphrodites or kunta. In this instance of gender uncertainty, Shariah makes an exemption to kunsa mushkil, which calls for gender to be determined by surgery if the evidence of the relevant medical expert is supported. Relief is provided maslahah or for the purpose of goodness, in order to inspire the recipient to live well and carry out his Muslim obligation more perfectly. There have been several fatwa produced by fatwa committees of the National Council of Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia regarding the permissibility of genital reconstruction surgery in patients with DSD. The most recent one from November 2006 was formulated with clear guidelines for different cases of kunta. Islam views wealth or property as precious gift that Allah has given, and for human beings to enhance the quality of their life. Thus, the preservation of wealth is therefore being an essential and non-separated part of the Maqasid Shariah. In other words, Islam looks at how the money is being spent. Islam teaches us not to be extravagant, but to be frugal in spending our wealth. Therefore, spending money for the sex reassignment surgeries in order to become a transgender is wasteful, and wastefulness is prohibited in Islam. This follows the principle of Maqasid Shariah, according to which most scholars argue that the allowed cases are only for kunta wadi and kunta mushkil. For kunta mushkil, we have discussed the different opinion of Islamic jurists, but according to Shariah law, in these cases of kunsa mushkil, surgery may be performed, if so advised by the medical expert to help ascertain the kunsa through sex. Gender surgery of kunsa for kunsa mushkil is permissible according to Muslim scholars, but surgery to change gender from male to female or otherwise is clearly prohibited. According to the recent fatwa issued by Malaysia, gender-affirming surgery is specific DSD is prohibited. Thank you very much.